Terrible sound, Josh.
What was that, Adam?
No sound.
So you guys didn't hear any of that, huh?
We heard it until it kicked into the higher part or the hotter part, and then it was too hot and ducked itself out, whatever. So I don't know if it was the mix or your mix.
Does that for me with Gravity every week. No, I'm not being funny. It's like it's on a shortwave radio. It comes in, it goes out, it comes in, it goes out. But
then it's definitely too hot in Josh's mix if it's doing it with Gravity too.
Well, that's usually because not everybody mutes. So if Gravity's playing and somebody rustles some papers, that'll duck down Gravity.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Right, let's get off the text.
We didn't need the music.
Yeah, I loved it. And the music was good, what I heard.
Well, thanks, guys. Yeah, it
looks like a really nice place.
Amsterdam, you not been there?
No, John, I have not.
Oh, mate.
Zach, will you be going? Perhaps.
Yes, I will.
Oh,
as long as I'm living in Croatia at the time, I should be.
That would seem a reasonable prerequisite.
Yeah,
it's be my favourite city ever.
It's a pretty city, but I think what Zach was referring to is the campsite. If you see bits there, it looks a nice place to actually enjoy Amsterdam, rather than stuck in a cramped little hotel room on your own, which is the way I've experienced it. You know, I'm really looking forward to it because it looks like, I mean, look at that. That looks like a nice little village. And whereas last year it was in the hotel, there was the little village hall around the bar. You know what I mean? That place looks like it could foster a much better atmosphere. And well done, DD, mate. It looks wicked.
Does looks gorgeous.
Where's Gary, DD?
I think he's still he was playing a poker game tonight, so I guess he's winning. Yeah.
He's taken the current ticket money so far and turn it into millions, or not.
No news is good news.
He did text me earlier saying, "Are we still good for tonight?" So fingers crossed. That's what it means, DD.
Yeah, so tonight we released the third speaker for Sunday, and as you could see on the trailer, it's Iru Landucci is joining us now.
Oh,
so that means we have 3 out of the 6 of the website.
He gets around, doesn't he? For someone from Argentina, he really does bounce about this plane.
He just had a conference himself in Barcelona last weekend.
That's right. I saw him with Alex, the conspiracy guru. Music guru.
Yes, that's Iru organizing, so it was all Iru that weekend.
So he organized a thing in Spain from Argentina?
Well, he's one of the well-known Spanish flat Earth content makers out there, and there's a big crowd in Spain, but because of the language barrier, there's not a lot of other YouTubers. So Iru is in high demand in Spain.
He's a busy boy. Busy boy. Hats off to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he travels around a lot, and I'm very happy to say that he will join us in Amsterdam. Like he supported us in Birmingham. He's always been very supportive. He helps me if I need any editing information or help. Iru is always there. He's just a lovely guy.
Did you meet up with Iru at the conference in America, Zach?
Oh yeah, we
Spotlight.
sat and chatted for a while. I actually had a chat with oh, I'm horrible with names. I can see his face. He traveled there with Iru, and we sat and talked for probably like 3 or 4 hours at the between the bar and the hotel. Oh, I can't believe I forgot his name. But no, they're amazing people from down there, and one was from Peru, and then the other was from Venezuela, where Iru is from. But just they were the ones telling me about the language barrier and how we need to breach it. That was their idea about starting to get translation from a lot of the other countries into English, translating them.
I don't know why Iru always apologises for his English. It's
excellent.
quite fun. I bet if you actually listen to half of the non-English speakers between him and Dell, who they understand the most, it wouldn't be much in it. You know what I mean? He's got an accent, but to me, who's used to accent, he's perfectly understandable, and I think his message would be brought out and used would be immense, because the stuff he does with regards to your personal dome is, we saw that at the conference, DD, in April when he presented it there. It was fantastic. Really does give great understanding. I won't try and go into the detail now, but the way he presents it was really gave great clarity to how a personal dome can work. So I don't think he should worry. He should just get out there. And if people are going to be dicks and criticise him for his accent, well, really, is that your criticism?
No, he's just a great researcher, and he does awesome videos, and most of the things we don't even know because it's in Spanish. There's a lot of content that Iru has that hasn't been translated yet, so I'm looking forward to that. And another thing to note there on the good news, because everybody knows that the Globe Light Tour is crossing across Europe, and it's gonna end in Amsterdam or take a stop in Amsterdam. And Iru has told me that he's probably gonna travel with the Europe tour for a couple days when we leave Spain towards Amsterdam. So that's very exciting as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Where do you want me on this page, DD? Can you see the screen? So I'm presenting it now.
I can see the screen. This is the newsletter I send out to all the everybody involved, and everybody who buys a ticket gets this newsletter, and it's an overview of what we did in January. So we launched the tickets on the 5th of January, so that's 20 days ago. And so far, we decided to put up a new name every 2 weeks. So we have announced Roxanne from the UK. Jaron is coming from the US. Iru is coming from Argentina. And we also have the confirmed for the Friday is Patricia Steer. She's going to host the open mic session. And then me and Gary are going to do the hosting in the Saturday and Sunday. We also have Jason then from the Globe Light Tour, because they're going to have a 2-week travel before they come to Amsterdam. So after the UK convention, they're going to France and Spain, and then they're coming back up to Holland. And I'm probably going to travel with them for a week or more as well. So if anybody wants to join.
Which bit are you going to do there, DD? Because you said a week or more. That sounds like a good bit of miles.
Yeah, I'm coming to the UK convention on the 13th of September. I'm going to stay there for the weekend, and I'm going to leave with Jason and Roxanne probably. We're going to go for France, Spain, Portugal. I'm coming back up, and I'm probably going to fly in a couple days early for Amsterdam, but I'm hoping to stay as long as I can because I like to travel with my camper van. So this is just a fun experience.
How far north are you going then?
Say that again.
How far north are you going to go? Are you going to go afterwards north into and follow
after the Amsterdam convention, I'm going back home because I cannot take a month off work. That's my boss is not going to allow that. So 2 weeks max.
That's it.
That would be great.
I think Jason said something about, and this is something that's tickled my fancy, is to hang about for the day after the conference because he's thinking about doing the Amsterdam Market Square, Town Square event then. So I'm thinking that might just delay me one more day, just one more, you know. But that's it, I think. It's going to be a crazy few weeks. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm gonna stay to the Monday, that's for sure, but not the Tuesday. When they go up north to Norway and more, then I'm gonna go back home. Because I think Tuesday they're gonna hit Belgium, so that's my my country. I'm probably gonna be there for the Tuesday afternoon, but that's 2 weeks of traveling, 2 conventions, and it's gonna be a very busy month, September. So,
have you talked him out of Brussels yet?
I'm trying. Yeah, he's looking into going to Ghent, so I'm hoping Ghent. That would be great, or Bruges. Yeah, because Brussels is not a nice place to be. But we'll see. It's 8 months away. There's a lot of things changing and updating, and me and Jason are in touch. Also with Robin from the UK convention. Everybody is in touch and working together. So we will see where we can help each other, and I'll adapt to the plan.
And Bruges. Bruges.
I was saying this last week, Dee, about how cool it is that you guys are sharing your resources and websites, and you've let them put a page up on the website. I think that's the way forward, isn't it? We're working together, sort of thing.
Yeah, I realized quite quickly that I cannot do the crazy experiments or lots of designs, and my strength is in some different places. So if we work together, everybody has his strength, and together we can accomplish a lot more.
That's right. It takes all kinds to do this kind of stuff. I mean, nobody can do everything. That's crazy.
We've said it before, the Flat Earth community is such a diverse mix of professions, races, creeds, religions, that what's the beauty of it is we all can bring something, and trying to emulate somebody else, for me, ain't the Flat Earth thing. Come as you and bring what you bring, and that adds something. Trying to emulate or do something that somebody else is doing just doesn't, I can't be, you know what I mean? The best analogy I had was Jason. Him going to me, I love the way you guys can argue like some of the technical data. And the first time I met him, he was under a van that he was repairing to get his ass around the country. Do you know what I mean? And I'm marveling at that. And we all have our own thing to bring. So just bring your own thing is what I think. And don't worry about, even if it is just like me, just being a gobshite sometimes. Be yourself. It doesn't matter, does it? It's a great mix we've got.
I think, Adam, when you go to conventions or meetups and you get to meet people face to face, you're a lot more connected and you're a lot more inclined to work together, because on the internet, everybody's just screaming against each other. And that's why I want to invest so much time in this convention is to have each other for the whole weekend. And then you build friendships and you go on to that, because that's when I talk to people online, it's not strangers online anymore. I've met most of the people and it's a very different thing.
Exactly. On about supporting each other, I just want to give a shout out to Anthony Riley, Sleeping Warrior tonight, who I was listening to his live stream and he kept it going. Respect, bruv. Respect, because that was that was a difficult conversation to adjudicate. But he did it for a reason, and that was to send over his viewers over here this evening. So welcome to anyone who's joined us. I know it was a smooth start. Um,
Always are.
but to me, and that's something that maybe we could just take a second, Josh, to, as Dee brought it up, you know, there's been a change this week, and I want to give a shout out to Globebusters, Paul on the plane, for sharing our channel on their stuff, and that, frankly, was down to one guy who's he's got the fire. I don't know what's going off. I don't know, you know what I mean? He's on fire. He woke me up Sunday morning, laying on the couch, saying, "Send me some pictures. Send me some pictures." And he's got the fire, and he's got the bug, and the reality that there is a community here. And he wants to work for it and help it. And you're seeing him everywhere now, and that's Ranty. You know, outside of his other stuff, man's on fire. And respect, Ranty. Your efforts are more than noticeable, mate. And in the case of Furs, mate, more than appreciated. Cheers, bro. It was
hats off to Ranty. Cheers for that. Gary was in the chat asking for the link.
I saw it.
I just dropped him one in Skype.
He had his chance.
He's here. Too late. No, he's already here. He's probably just trying to sort his audio out.
No, I'm here.
Hey,
Gary. So did you win big, did you?
Not really, no. I wanted to make sure I got away in time to get the on-time link that didn't ever come.
Didn't come for us either, mate. So don't worry about it. I got in, what was it, Walt, about 30 seconds before the start of the show. We were allowed in.
Something like that.
The thing is, though, John, it's because Walt knows that you're a bit of a lightweight going to Amsterdam, so he's not impressed with you.
Didn't take you long, Gary. Didn't take you long.
And hard hit. I love it.
We have 8 months of that. So.
Yeah. Not going to start busy till the end of September.
Walt and I were just saying the same thing this morning on the Ironworks.
You will learn, like my mother, that the more you ask, the more I dig my heels in.
Well, the good news is it's working because we don't want you with us.
That's good.
That don't work either, Gary. We've tried that as well. I don't want to meet you, Savage. Bollocks. I'm not bothered. Faith, not bothered, mate. But no.
Well, we can live in hope.
Moving on.
No, let's talk about John. Come on.
Oh, bugger off.
I tell you what, we should talk about John. He's going to do a little bit of feedback on the gyro. I said we all have a skill, don't we? Earlier, and I've been invited into the FE core, and I'm sat there watching some of the stuff that Stefan's got planned, and regards to gyros. And I did bring out my skill as a gobshite and said, my mate John really like to have an input on this. So I know he's going to have a chat next week with FE Core with regards to the gyro that they're building. And from my opinion, whatever it's worth, I think him sticking his 2 penny worth in will really, really benefit the project, as Gary would say.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing a conversation about gyro compasses. I'm not going to contribute anything, but I'm really looking forward to listening to it.
Stay tuned. But this isn't about gyro compasses. No, yeah, I was absolutely chuffed to be cordially invited to the FE Core meeting on Tuesday. It's Stefan, isn't it, that's building this, and who also incidentally did the music that we were chilling out to on the way into the show. So yeah, amazing talent there. But yeah, I'm just chuffed to be able to I'm just chuffed that someone's actually building a really top grade mechanical gyroscope, because anyone who's been listening has known that I've been banging on about that and putting tweets out to engineering firms and precision engineers and all this sort of stuff. And FE Core are doing it. So, you know, what more can be said about that? It's absolutely fantastic. And it's gyro porn for me.
Thing is, though, John, that's the whole point of that FE Core, is that we are connected and we bring in different people to do either a specific task on a certain event, or they're involved on an ongoing basis. And it's such a powerful team that I know that it gets criticism, but a lot of people criticize just do not have a clue, or they're just negative, or they just want to cause harm. But there's so much talent within FE Core that I just feel privileged to be a part of it, really. And it's just an amazing thing. And I think that because the amount of depth within the team is so strong, then the opportunities like this, this gyro and like laser experiments and like microwave testing and force align or whatever is quite significant, really. So it's good to that, I'm really pleased that you're going to get a chance and that you're excited, because it's just really nice, I think.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think what FE Core are doing is amazing. It's brilliant, and I couldn't give a toss about the haters out there. These are people who are sitting in their seats, scratching their ass, just typing bile, and judge FE Core on their fruits, and even to this date, they've absolutely flourished and brought forth fruit in like you say in terms of the laser experiments and so much more to come. But this is an absolute dream come true for me, because to know that they're going to be building a mechanical gyroscope, and that was the key, that it had to be mechanical, because you can't dick around with a mechanical gyroscope anywhere near as much as you can with, say, a fiber optic gyro or ring laser gyro or whatever. That thing has to go through coded.
It's not dick around, John.
Go through software.
There's less supposition as to any variance with the mechanical, isn't there? As we've seen with the ring laser, there's so much conjecture as to why that 15 degrees is there, but with the mechanical that disappears. It's the mechanical that has never been shown to show the 15 degrees.
Well, what bothered me was that the gyroscope is built by, isn't it Lockheed Martin, or who do I mean, they have the Idaru system. These are companies that flat earthers for sure know not to trust. It's like getting your food from Monsanto or something. I mean, it's just you just don't know what. And it wasn't kept quiet either that the fiber optic gyro was being purchased and that sort of thing. It's unless the software is open source and can be scrutinized in real time, sort of thing, then I don't know. I just can't trust it. A mechanical gyroscope for me is the way forward, without a doubt.
Right, to move this on, because we've got so much to cover tonight. There was, as Gary's here, just something whilst we're on FE Core. They've been kicking arse this week, Gary. I don't know if you want to say anything. I don't know what I can say and can't say, but I don't know if you could, because we got Nathan in the chat, and this was the other thing. Congratulations, Nathan. You're back, mate. I shut up. I missed TFR this morning with the guys on Ironworks, and I missed most of your show. But the first thing I did was quickly jack up on that just to see what the ballers were up to, because I just really wanted to see how they behave. And it was great to get you back, but there's been a lot of work in the background, Gary, and I don't know if you can speak on what arse kicking's been going off.
I don't know what I can and can't say, really.
Yeah, same here. No pressure, mate. Off you go.
I like the way you're setting me up.
Yeah, that's exactly why I did it.
Okay. What can I do? What can I say that's diplomatic?
I might get you fired, mate. I apologise.
Again, by Mike. Yeah.
Like every week.
Is that we have what I will say is that we have the typical idiots out there that are trying to cause harm, but because we do everything with integrity, and basically, I was talking to somebody earlier about it, actually, that one of the things I love about FE Core is it takes away all the bullshit. And if we were ever doing anything where we're trying to fudge results or we're trying to do something, then we don't deserve to exist. But because everything we do is just done with scrutiny, we literally go, as we went through, the research, for the video that we're putting together, is the amount of back and forth that goes into it is immense. So these idiots that are trying to like mudsling and to try and create disharmony, they may make a scratch on one day, but then the big guns come out and we kick them into touch. It just takes sometimes overnight, sometimes it can take a little bit longer, but in the end we're just going to win through because it's all been done for the right reasons. And I think that the more people that we have, the more haters we have, the more that we're probably pushing their buttons and maybe making significant impact, and they don't like it, and we're just going to keep moving on like an oil tanker going along the Suez Canal. We're just going to keep rolling and nothing's going to stop us. Yeah, how diplomatic was that?
You said everything without saying anything.
I know, I did my best. Sorry, everyone.
Well, what I will say then is that through some of these channels and through the community, as we've talked about it earlier, working together and supporting each other, Nathan's back on here today. And screw you guys. The harder you kick, the stronger we get.
So does that mean the Flat Earth debates are back on daily, or?
It's called a new channel. It's called Flat Earth Debate, I think. Isn't that it? Just Flat Earth Debate? Or is it the Flat Earth Debate? I think it's just Flat Earth Debate, but it's a totally new channel, so you'll have to go there and subscribe to it. But if you search Flat Earth Debate, you should find it under channels when you search.
Cool.
Yeah, it was a good show this morning. Right back at it where we left off. Trolls not answering questions and starting to swear when Nathan holds their feet to the fire. And then he kicks them. Yeah, it's great. It's good times.
Excellent. That'll keep my dog happy.
I posted a little thing in chat that the few seconds I got. It was good timing, I assume, but the few seconds I was there and heard this afternoon, Nathan basically kicked someone for swearing, and then within a few minutes the hangout was sniped and he had to restart it. And I don't know what. Yeah, that was the bit I chipped in live. So it was good for him to be back, and it was like he'd never been away. You know what I mean?
It does go to show, though, that we do need a medium to put out content that is with integrity, that can't be sniped. So it is something that I think needs a long-term solution. Whatever that is, I don't know, but it needs to be worked on. And I just think it's a shame that this is happening, or it has happened in the past. And it's.
I think that, again,
sad.
The community stepped up, Gary. Nathan's described how. I've seen a video tonight. I'm not sure if he's named whoever it is that's done it. The video, the website support is received, but the next time they take him down, okay, yeah, he can't be on YouTube, but the community can go to the website and engage there. For the limited viewers we've got at the moment, whatever server, whatever he's got, will be sufficient. So. Again, they've kicked and we will respond, and they won't be able to kick us there again in terms of taking Nathan off for a month. They might be able to take him off from YouTube for a month or whatever and prat around again, although I think that's become less likely, as you so eloquently described.
What we need, Adam, is a spare donated server that's online, loads of space, and can act as this platform. But doesn't Iron Realm Media have a server like that? So there's your answer. Put all your technical details into Iron Realm, and we'll sort it out, one click at a time.
Nothing like a bit of pressure, Savage.
But that is what we've got, isn't it? We got a bloody great server there.
We could do that.
We just don't know what we're doing. So please.
A note on that: the YouTube screen is frozen for a while now, so the
We
technical
can't get our
guy
own
should get
stuff
to
out.
work.
See, trust everything to IRM. We won't cock it up.
Yeah, it just needs to go off of screen share, huh? Is all we need to do, I think. I'm not sure.
No,
who
we're good. We're good. Good on my phone. Streaming. Stop scaring me. Don't do that, DD.
Yeah, but I think all we're seeing is the image that you're showing everybody at, and we're not seeing who's talking.
I'm not sharing that. That's just for you guys. I apologize
okay.
for holding it up. No, see, there's a level of production, Walt, you see, that I don't know myself. There you go. Is that gone now? Are you okay? See each other.
Can I just ask? Has
Yeah,
I didn't get the first few minutes. Has the announcement of the latest speaker been put up, and has the video been shown tonight?
How late were you?
Say again. What is that, Adam?
Yeah, I said, how late were you? Yeah, yes. We also
Oh.
discussed your gambling habit, and we hoped you won.
So, what do you think about having 50% of Globebusters coming to Amsterdam?
You're going to cut them in half.
No, we're not cutting them in half, but 50% are coming.
Yeah, I've not heard that. Have we heard about Iru?
And what do you think of the video that Didi put together?
Yeah, we were falling over. I was talking about the campsite, mate. It looks wicked. I'm really looking forward to staggering around there.
Well, I don't expect anything else from you.
Yeah. So Didi had talked about Iru.
Yeah, we're pleased to have him again. He's a cool guy, isn't he? Really, he's so brilliant.
Well, while we're here, let's go back to that then, dude. Didi, as always, we go sideways fantastically with gyroscopes and all sorts. It was flat Earth, but yeah, let's get back to the conference, mate. So you were saying about Iru announcing him, and maybe you want to carry on from there.
Yeah, so for February we have the first debater coming up. We're gonna announce, and then we're gonna also announce the little live act we're planning for the Friday and our DJ. So there's more names coming out every month. It's not over yet. It's 8 months away, and there's a lot of new information coming out every 2 weeks. And then of course Robin with UK has some great information coming out every 2 weeks as well. So there's a lot of exciting news coming up, but for now we are just very pleased to say that Iru will join us together with Roxanne and Sharon, and then Patricia, and we have of course some guests, including you, and then Zach. That would be great, and maybe John in 8 months. You never know.
You never know.
On that,
So
Zach,
we are very excited, and just the thing about the campsite, there's 25 cabins in total on the campsite. So if you want to stay on the campsite, get in touch or get your recommendation, because there's not a lot of cabins, and the other options are hotels or things in the center more. But it's a small campsite for a couple hundred people, but we're not going to be the only ones there. So
what is the weather like around that time of year in that area?
September is great. It's summertime here, so that's shorts and t-shirts.
Okay, cool.
So if you want to take a tent and do it very simple, you can do so. That's really cheap for the weekend.
Yeah, I love tent camping. There's something about it.
If you get really stuck, you can always sleep on the benches at Central Station. So I'm told.
It has like two malls in the Central Station. It's huge.
It is. You could rent. Actually, yeah, they've got those baggage lockers, and they've got enormous ones. They're like 1 meter by 1 meter. The door. You could rent one of them and
camp out for a while in there.
Damn, yeah, I should have thought about that.
Can I just mention? I was actually thinking that I would love to do a workshop on knitting, and could you run that for us?
Crocheting, Gary.
Crochet. Sorry. Do apologise.
Yeah,
But
no, if you actually did a knitting one, I would love to learn how. I've got all the needles and everything, but I've tried to learn through books, and it doesn't work. I need to see somebody do it
And
and have them show me. But yeah, I could teach how to crochet for sure.
do you think we should actually include that within an FE core observation, crocheting observation?
Not so much. I mean, FE Core is more than just teaching that the earth is flat. I mean, they were getting into growing their own foods, you know, learning how to do it better, more efficiently. There's a lot of different aspects if you go to FE Core and look at the thing. So, I mean, making our own clothes could be one of them. There's much easier ways to do it than the way I'm doing it. You know, if you went and bought a loom or something like that, or they have crocheting machines. This is more just something, you know, idle hands and all that. I've been working on this for like 3 years, so I wouldn't consider this actually
Living the dream, eh?
Yeah, oh yeah. I can't wait. One day I'll be sitting out on my rocking chair in the front porch, the log cabin that I built, just sitting there crocheting something. It'll be like 100 feet long, probably.
Still working on that same poncho.
Yeah. But I enjoy it. Yeah, I don't know, something about making stuff, folks. Like with the convention even, you know how it is. When you put together a convention like that, that's got to even be more amazing. Seeing that kind of energy and the kind of emotions that you bring out of people.
I think Dee Dee was mentioning that earlier, that, you know, where a lot of people seem to go wrong and they're knocking conventions and saying, what's the point of going? We've already heard it all before. You know, I can get that speaker on YouTube. There's nothing really to be added. That is just literally a prerequisite to get people together and to have the connections that were made in the UK. And when we went to Denver, and I met with Bob and Cammy and Jaron and Missa and yourself, Zach, and there was I was on the table, and there's John the Morgan on one side of me and his wife. There's on the right of me was Rick Hummer. There's a few other people, and I met so many people, and the connections and the feeling and the energy that comes from it is just immense. And I saw you there, Zach, didn't I? And I know we only managed to catch up a few times, but it's just powerful. And I just think that people who knock the conventions are just missing the point, because there's so much more to it than just what goes on stage.
Yeah, I agree. I'd never knock a convention, although I'd never go, but I'd never knock one, and I'll actively support and promote them as much as possible, because I completely agree with what you just said. Wouldn't it be good if, you know, a bunch of flat earthers, moneyed up flat earthers, got together and could buy a parcel of land like they were doing, like Robin was saying about Lieberland? And has anyone heard of Bolivar in the States, I think he created a city called Zion, I think it was. It was a complete lunatic, complete nut job, but it was a flat earth city. Anyone heard of that?
I believe that's in Zion, Illinois, right?
Yeah.
In the United States. Yeah, he did it right on Lake Michigan. It's north of Chicago.
Had a bunch of signs before you came
the sunrise
into
over Lake Michigan. Yeah.
And it would say, you know, no medical doctors allowed in, no, and all this sort of stuff. I mean,
the constables carried around a revolver and a Bible.
Right.
Something like that, yeah.
But wouldn't it be cool to have a sort of modern day Lieberland, flatland Lieberland, you know, where we could just flush this whole government system down the toilet?
I think that's already happening, and especially with the European tour coming up, there's a lot of people stepping up who offer their home and a place, so we get connected all over the plane. And if we can then step it up even more, then that's the way to go.
No, I mean like a parcel of land where people can buy a plot and build a house and live next to Adam Meakin. I want to live next to you, Adam.
You have to connect people
first. Sorry?
You have to connect people first before they come together and buy a house, because that's the first step is to come together and spend the weekend, and then you can decide to live together.
It's like all these sort of fly on the wall documentaries where they put people on sort of remote English islands or something, and it always turns to rat shit, and they end up either murdering each other or they're always scaring us about these sort of breakaway societies that yeah, it makes me wonder if it was done properly whether it would work nicely.
Here in the US, they had the big Waco, where there was supposedly a large group of people that were living like commune style, off the grid totally, and they had to go in there with guns and
Yeah, that was a whole thing. That wasn't necessarily about the Branch Davidians, though it might have been a little bit. That was a whole lot about the FBI trying to save face after fucking up so bad at Ruby Ridge and killing that kid in cold blood and all the crazy stuff that went on after that. They were trying to show that they weren't completely incompetent and ended up massacring, and there was just some horrible footage coming out of the Branch Davidian compound, as they called it. Luckily, there were reporters there who showed up, and they were able to get FLIR footage, I guess, and there was evidence of the soldiers telling everybody to come out with their hands up, and they weren't going to shoot. And as soon as people started coming out, they just opened fire. And this was all seen on the FLIR footage. It's pretty crazy stuff going on, but I don't think it was necessarily too much of how they were living. I don't think. I think that was just more something else. We've got like a hippie commune here in Missouri, out in the Lake of the Ozarks, that's been going for a good several decades. I know very little about it, other than it's usually the butt of a lot of jokes.
Do you think Waco might have been part of a psyop to warn people not to bother trying to set up their own communities?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, don't hoard guns, don't collect guns. You know, only bad, scary people that are trying to have sex with children and start a crazy religious cult. Only they need guns. And by God, we've got the FBI to come in and take care of those people.
Sounds like history repeating itself, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. What's that they say? Those that control the past control the present, and those that control the present control the future.
I don't know. There must be a quote from W saying that. Much better.
I don't think that's exactly what he says. But
fool me once.
Yeah, fool me once, shame on you or me or something.
Can't fool me again.
Yeah, those who control the past control the present, and those who control the present control the future. Some crap like that. I don't know. But yeah, we know what they meant.
Saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again."
Oh, George.
Words of wisdom, boy.
He was trying to paraphrase Stephen Hawking, I think.
If you want to hear Adam Meekin laugh, that's all you have to do is play that. I've never heard it played without him cracking up and laughing out loud every time.
It's one of the greatest brain farts you'll ever hear, isn't it? It's just he's run through the whole thing, and all of it's come out wrong. It's fantastic. The programming failed.
Yeah, but just to hear him give up at the end makes me laugh. You can't
get fooled again.
I'm gonna get one of these words is going to be right. Damn it!
It's the way it screws up with it. Can't get fooled again. It almost goes like James Brown. Can't get fooled again.
That's the sudden realization that he can't remember what the fuck he's supposed to say. I can't get fooled again.
Take the motor. Oh my God.
There's some strange noise coming out here.
You know what? Sometimes when
Nailed.
when we're prating about, a word of wisdom calms us down. You're right, Stephen.
I mean, there has never been a more quotable fella than Stephen Hawking. I could quote his stuff all day long.
You do, I think.
I do. Right. Who can forget this little gem?
Once you thought that anyone else was.
Need you say more?
I'd agree there, because if you do book early for the Flat Earth Conference in Amsterdam, you're not going to be disappointed, are you? But leave it too late, who knows? Wise words, Stephen. Wise words.
I think we've got the most live listeners we've ever had. So, yeah, we're doing something wrong.
Let's stop it now.
How many
There
have
you
you
go,
got out of
Hal.
interest?
78, I saw.
Ooh.
Oh, negative Ghost Rider. 97 was what we had last week.
And we're on 98 now.
Some
Oh.
crazy
That's
ass
not
big numbers, isn't it?
That certainly is.
Way too big.
Well, rather than keep them waiting, Josh, I've got one more little mini rant. Not a rant, really. More a thing of, I talk about the community working together. I've said it so many times tonight, and tonight's another one. And I'm just gonna transfer the screen. But we're probably all aware of Dr. John Dee's work. Been working with Paul on the plane most openly, and his observations he's been making are outstanding, and a lot of us have loved his stuff, but some of the terminology he's used has bothered us, particularly with the stance that we've been taking with regards to the word science, scientific, and its true meaning, the validity behind it. And Josh, are you going to help me? Because I can't read. I've read an address to the lassies tonight, and that was enough. Could you help me, or should I just scroll this?
I can give it a shot. You'll just have to show me where to read.
Okay, so the way this gent always deals with it is with slides, and I think it's quite powerful, because if you are properly interested, it's not a bit of showbiz, bit of tat. You sit and you read what he writes, and it's quite good. And I've gone through all of his previous work, and I think we've showed it on a couple of shows previously, haven't we? It's scrolling through in the background, because it's great work. And for me, well, I'll hand it over. It's best said by him.
And do you have one of these slides up or something for me to read from?
What? Oh yeah, I forget. It's
One click away.
Well, it was two there. Can you guys see the main screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so I shall try and preempt the slide need change. Off you go, mate.
So, after discussions with Nathan Oakley, it is clear that a change of terminology is needed for the sake of thoroughness and accuracy of the project. The project is based on the implementation of an observation and not an experiment. To be classified as an experiment, the procedure must have a hypothesis based on the observation of a natural phenomena and an independent variable. A hypothesis is usually written in the form of an if-then statement. This statement gives a possibility if and explains what may happen because of the possibility then. Some examples of hypothesis statements are: if garlic repels fleas, then a dog that eats garlic every day will not get fleas. When there is less oxygen in the water, rainbow trout suffer more lice. A hypothesis must have a natural phenomena that can be observed. In the hypothesis, when there's less oxygen in the water, rainbow trout suffer more lice. The natural phenomena being observed is the number of lice on the trout. The hypothesis must have a singular independent variable that must be capable of being varied and manipulated by the researcher. The amount of oxygen in the water is the independent variable in the above hypothesis. There are numerous sites on the internet that go into the scientific method in detail. Our community-based project does not require a hypothesis. So, as such, it is not following the classical scientific method, so it is correctly categorized as an observation. It's simple. Can a light source, horizontal to the ground and 1 meter above tide level, be observed 15.3 kilometers away over the sea in the evening by a camera, horizontal to the ground and 1 meter above tide level? No hypothesis, independent variable, or scientific method required. To reflect the fact that the project is an observation and not a scientific experiment, the logo has been changed. The wording on the website is also being changed, and all future YouTube videos and releases will use the appropriate terminology. Many thanks to Nathan Oakley for his time and effort in ensuring the accuracy of the terminology. The Peer-to-Peer Observation 2019. Objective, empirical, logical. Saturday, 2nd of February 2019 at 3:30 p.m. at the Brighton West Pier and Worthington Pier. Keep track on the weather leading up to the observation, hoping for cold and dry weather.
I think that's awesome. Just so succinctly put, really nice and well read, Josh. But I must say, be careful feeding your dogs garlic. It might kill fleas, but it might also kill your dog. But half a garlic clove, I found, is about right. But on the, I think it's just great that he's put this out, because we all use the word scientific and a scientific method and experiment and all these words without fully understanding what it is we're putting forward and claiming. And as such, I'm just glad that Nathan had a word with him, and he took what Nathan said, realized he was right, as I reluctantly did a few weeks ago or a month ago. And yeah, we can move forward. And I think that's sort of in your bloodstream as well, Adam, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I as Dr. John D says there, like, it is down to Nathan that we've got this tool behind us that Dr. John D's worked previously, and this observation is going to nearly said experiment. God damn it!
Don't forget quantum eraser as well.
Yeah, well, Quantum's a great guy if you ever need a reality check. But in terms of what I'm talking about here, you know, Nathan gets a lot of bad press and a lot of stereotypes painted about him. But I would suggest that maybe that stereotypes needs reconsidering. If that really is the person, how has he engaged with an academic like John and convinced him cordially to put out that sort of video? Certainly, Metabunk couldn't do it, and what's the other guy's name? Ruhif didn't manage it. Yet somehow Nathan has managed to get the point over to him, and I would suggest the character that's portrayed out there, or the character that has to deal with people like Nick West, Ruhif, the Rumpus, etc. And as you've seen today, you know, he's a very different person and a lot more eloquent and intelligent than the trolls would paint him. And I just want to thank him for, and maybe thank goodness he was off the air, because he really has applied himself to this. And convinced a high-level academic to redescribe his own work. And as somebody with ego in the academic world, that's no mean feat, guys. That's no mean feat what Nathan's done for us all.
I like to put it in the same class as, when we schooled Jaren on using the word math and explained why it should be maths. And Jaren was absolutely man enough to agree.
Yeah, you're right. Screw Nathan. We taught Jaren to say maths, not math. You're right. Why don't we get any credit, guys? It's shocking, isn't it?
We're actively trying to avoid it.
Are we over 100 yet?
I want to give a compliment to Nathan that basically what he does is he cuts out all the bullshit. He just goes straight for the jugular, and he does it in a very small amount of words, and he's succinct. And I just think he does a cracking job, really.
I love the way he lets them hang themselves. He is so good at letting them keep backing themselves into the corner, just more and more and more. And he doesn't correct them. He lets them keep going. And as long as they'll keep, getting the noose tighter and tighter around their neck, he won't say nothing. He'll just let them. And he gets upset when people try to correct him. He's like, shut up, let them.
That's right.
Let them be ignorant.
You know where it's going, don't you? You know what he's trying to do, and then someone butts
it's
in,
an art
and
form,
like,
really
shut up! He was so close. I think it's classic.
Yeah, it's good.
Comedy timing.
Yeah.
So good luck to you, Nathan. We'll all be tuning in.
Well, I'll probably be at work, so I may not be tuning in, but I might check it on the premiere later.
That's what he keeps telling Arwen on the after show. That's his big moment in America, because that's the first time you guys get to see it, and you guys get the extra bit, I think. So unless you're up early or you're not at work, you know what I mean. When you guys get the premiere version, I think you get the extra bit, don't you? That, as in the UK, have to wait probably till. Well, probably don't watch till the next day. Just that little bit. It's almost made for the US, that bit. It's almost like clever marketing from Mr. Oakley, isn't it?
Almost, I suppose. He's pretty good.
I think we were chatting at one point, and as far as we can tell, his numbers went up a fair bit whilst producing no content. So again, they're kickers, but
I find that on Twitter as well. If I don't say anything, I get more followers than if I do say something. So it tells me a lot.
So I know I saw Brendan pop in here just a few moments ago. So I'm assuming he was having a few audio issues from the looks of it. So maybe he went to go get that sorted out and get Cindy on the right page. I don't know what it is that makes it so hard for people to have audio to come in.
What we got? We got just 9 minutes, unless we count the false start. So maybe 13, 14. But shall we hand you back to DD then and give us one more Amsterdam slap? Give us a rundown where we're at, who's come in, who's booked so far, and what we're going to play out with after that. Josh.
Tickets.
That's right. The website, the social media, all that.
Your website is.
All right, so the FE convention in Amsterdam is going to take place the last weekend of September, so the 27th to the 29th. On the Friday nights, we're going to have an opening party with a live show, a great DJ, an open mic session, and Patricia Steer will be hosting that little session. Then for the Saturday, we're going to have a debate day, which we will announce in 2 weeks. Then Gary will hopefully come here with our first debater, and we'll have a chat about that. And then for the Sunday, we have 6 speakers, and 3 of them have been announced. So we have Roxanne, Jaron, and Iru coming already. And we will announce more speakers every 2 weeks. You can find all the information on our website, which is feconvention.com. We also have a Twitter account, which is FEC, I think. FEC, yes. We have a Facebook group. We have a YouTube channel. It's all called Flat Earth Convention or FE Convention. You can find us on most of the social media. The campsite is going to be the main accommodation for all the core and the speakers, and we hope that most of the attendees will join us on the campsite. It's called Camping Vliegenbos. You can find the information for that on the website as well. And to give you an idea for the price, if you want to stay for 3 nights and rent a cabin for 4 people, it's 290 euros. So that's about 70 euros a person for 3 nights. Then the tickets you can find on the website as well. A day ticket is about 55 euros and a combi ticket is 100 euros, and that's for the 3 days. So more info you can check out on the social media or the website, or we will check in with you guys once in a while and give you the new updates and announcements. And if you have any questions, you can always send us an email to feconvention@outlook.com.
So can you give us a little teaser? Is it going to be for the flat side or for the round side? Who's the first announcement for? Can you tell us that at least?
Yeah, the first announcer is for the flat side. We are in the process of getting people for the globe side. If you have anybody you have in mind, we prefer people with a PhD or a master's degree, or who can specialize in a certain part. Or everybody's welcome for the debate, but we would like to have a.
Have you thought about getting in touch with Jose J.G. Gonzalez?
No, who is that?
I won't bother to explain, DD.
No, so we have a little debate trailer up there. If anybody's interested, watch the debate trailer, and you can always send us an email. We are getting in contact with all the universities in the local area. We're also trying to get into a different amount of schools, the planetarium, the museums. We are sending emails out everywhere, and hopefully in 8 months' time we will have a great lineup for you for the debate. But the first speaker you will get to meet in 2 weeks.
Well, we look forward to that. That's going to be exciting. Well, I hope you guys can find some good ball earth debaters. I don't know, antecedents. I don't know how do you describe that. I wasn't very good at debate. Well, I guess I was. I just don't remember very much.
Need Kent Hovind, don't we?
I want to mention about, you know, I bet a lot of you guys have seen over the last few days allegedly Dave's debate with the particle physicist. And I was watching it and I was thinking, there's no way we could invite this guy because he would just get ripped to bits. You know, he just did. I don't know what you guys think, but I just think he didn't come out in a good light.
I don't think anyone who's going to debate the sphere is going to come out in a good light, though, really, because there's just no end to it, is there? They're going to end up swearing, tearing their hair out, and just going, stop asking for proof, just believe.
I don't know if you read it, John, that there was one part where I think Dave was talking about, I don't know if it was from Dave or from somebody else, but leading up to the debate, apparently the physicist was, and I hope I'm not wrong in what I'm saying here as inaccurate, but he was quite blasé about the whole thing. And, you know, he felt like he was like, you know, on the money and it was just going to be, you know, just a question of turning up. And I almost felt sorry for the guy because Dave, you know, if you notice, the other guy was like, he was like stuttering a little bit and he was trying to interrupt a lot, but he interrupted but didn't really say much. And it was just I just thought it was a very poor performance by him. And kudos to Dave. Right, I thought he did a cracking job.
To be honest, Gary, wasn't that sort of the same impression you got from the physics graduates at the UK convention? You know, that not one of them had even looked into gyroscopes as physicists. What who were they? What were they? And
If I remember rightly, I think Dee can back me up here if I get it wrong, but I think one of them had their PhD and two of them were going for their PhD levels. And one of the things that we made sure of, and we would do no different to Amsterdam, is we can't have a debate where it's ill-prepared on both sides. So we actually were in regular conversations. We were negotiating questions on both sides to make sure that everyone had a fair crack of the whip, because one thing we didn't want is for anyone to have the rug pulled from beneath them, and made one to look stupid, and two, it'd give less benefit from the actual debate.
But you know what, Gary, that physicist debate taught me a lot about, and it's going to be difficult to get ballers, because those that bother to look into it will struggle. As you listen to Benjamin dude, if you bother to look into it, you really do start to see the holes that we all see. But the physicist debate this year taught me a lot. There was two things that said a lot about the arrogance and the assumptions that, and they were young lads, so you were giving them benefit of that. But first thing was the way they kind of lectured us straight away with regards to using Google as a source of reference. But and that was, do you know what I mean? They kind of took a tone that they understood much more than us. And the thing that kind of validated that for me was when they did turn up and we presented arguments to them, and they went, oh, I haven't looked into that. And those things that they hadn't looked into were things that you'd given them questions about. And when I talk about arrogance, it's because they'd looked at it and thought, I've got a physics degree. I don't know more than anyone else in the room about gyroscopes. And the reality was, when it was explained to them how a gyroscope functioned, it dawned on them. And the only response they had was, oh, I've not looked into that.
But Adam, didn't the gyroscope question come from the audience? It was like, it wasn't even from the other side. It was like...
Was it Nora, Gary, or...
I think she was talking, wasn't she talking about Cavendish?
Yeah, the Coriolis and Cavendish. The gyro came from the audience as well.
You shut me down, Gary. I had him, right, and he goes to me. Oh yeah, but like, how does a liquid behave in a glass? And I was about to demolish him on his bullshit hypothesis that he'd tried to explain how a liquid behaves in a vessel, and the only way to support his ball earth was on that premise that he'd had to use a liquid when we were talking about a gas. And you said, no, shut up, Mick, or something that was politer along those. But that was the point, mate. They realistically, if you were to put them in one of Nathan's debates, those guys would get their arse chewed in minutes. And I think
exactly
as we go to the next bit, it's, unless they've been revising and working very hard, I would imagine, with the greatest of respect to them, they need to have a much higher caliber of candidate, or somebody that at least has done the homework properly, not assumed they know better than other people.
But in all reality, Adam, what's the chance of that? I mean, all of us on this call came at this with the same arrogance, the same, oh, well, this will be an easily dispensed with idiocy. It's first time we watched a video, the first time we looked at all this. So it's just, it's the system. It's what they've set it up to be, is knee-jerk, this is idiocy. I don't have to look into it. I don't even have to look into my own model, because I'll just dispense with this with my brilliance. And it doesn't ever work out that way.
I think we're proving, Walt, it's not an easy book in this one for Gary.
Yeah, I think one thing I want to mention on this is that a few people, not many, but a few people actually criticized us on the fact that there were like young lads, which we recognize. But one, it was, this opportunity came about, so I grabbed it. I requested, because this guy, the Chris, who actually was like the mediator between us and them, he came to me reference doing like he looked after his project, this like magazine in Imperial College London that was for iScience, and it was looking after putting out something to the local community and people at the university and whatever. I then said, actually, I wouldn't mind, finding out as you're part of the university that you must be connected to physicists. So I didn't set the criteria from the point of view who to go to, but he came back with 3 lads that, two of them at least, it does their CV some good that they've actually been involved in the debate. And we always thought, Didi and I always agreed that we would obviously, if we did this again in the future, we would always want to go up to at least a lecturer level, if not, even somebody who's actually, major, doing a major research on this, stroke a professor, because that's the next natural step. And you won't believe this. I'm going to say something to you now. I had a dream through the night that I was actually chatting to Brian Cox, and he was contemplating coming to Amsterdam. I know it might come across a bit silly, but wow, I'd love to do that.
Oh, well, that's it. I'm definitely not going.
What, because of my dream?
But no, you do raise a good point, Gary, but that these guys were young. But let's face it, they're still going for PhDs. They're still, months away from being called doctor, and they are still the future of what we currently call science or believe is science. So I don't think we can let them off.
John, can I draw an analogy? Because, I teach postgraduate. So I can only assume if it was in a sort of similar field. Imagine I had a load of postgraduates and they were off to go and debate the nonsense that is Rick Simpson oil. There was a load of postgraduate pharmacies for newly qualified, and I was sending them off as part of part of a support project. I would, if the level of research that those gentlemen failed to show, or the alternative being that that was their fallback position because they had no real argument to deny any knowledge of it. From an academic point of view, that response was not acceptable. So and you talk about their age, but most importantly, they were degree holding students. So from a degree holding student, that is not an acceptable response. Unless, of course, it was a fallback.
Also, from a point of view of they knew what they were turning up to. They knew that they were there to support the spinning ball. And one of the most famous experiments ever conducted, and he called it an experiment, so there we go, is Foucault's gyroscope experiment, which so-called claim to show the spin of the earth. So for them to bowl up at a non-spinning flat earth convention and not understanding even the basics of a gyroscope is just bloody lame, really, isn't it?
Like I say, not acceptable from an academic point of view. So forget the debate point of view, but as an academic, you with a degree in physics, that argument should be clear in your head. I said that's more telling to me. I'm not decrying them, but that was noticeable, and those are the sort of things that actually tell you, look, this is indoctrination, because these things aren't raised. They're not fundamentals that you consider in what you do with regards to physics. They're ignored and shoved in a cupboard because they contradict what you're asking to consider in the mathematics.
That is a school system. You just have to learn the books. You don't have to understand what's in the books, or you don't need more knowledge than that, just what it's been told to you. Because when I went to school, it was the same. Everything on Google was not allowed by the teachers. You had to go through the science server from the school to do your bachelor stuff and things like that. So it was all the same.
But it also points to the fact that they can't think for themselves to be able to go and research. I'm not at school. I wasn't taught about gyros at school. I had to go away and look it up myself. So the fact that these guys are only bringing their school education to the table, rather than saying, well, hell, I don't want to look like an idiot, so I'm going to make sure, how do I know the world is spinning and is a ball? Let's look up some famous experiments. They clearly sort of showed that these days you don't think past your school education and educate yourself, didactic.
Well, we hope to step it up for the next one and have people who are more knowledgeable or more open to do some research at least. But we can go back in time. We gave the guys all the opportunities to do the research.
Oh, it certainly wasn't your fault, Dee, or anyone organising it. It certainly wasn't. But it's a great snapshot on what current soon-to-be PhDs.
I think, John, I started the question on with the statement of, I saw the questions that you and Gary Dede handed to them, and that's the point you're making. They chose, and this is the point I'm making, they chose in their arrogance that they didn't need to research that, because they genuinely felt they were meeting a load of people that were informed and uninformed and uneducated, and they knew a lot more. They didn't need to research it. But
and
when they got in that room,
someone in the audience was able to kick their ass just by mentioning gyroscopes. I think it's hilarious.
On a number of levels, I think they struggled, the lads, to be fair. But they'd not been trained in bore obfuscation, so, in their defence.
So Gary, Dede, have you kept in touch with those guys?
The guy Chris, who was the I didn't have like direct access to the other three, and I think that's how Chris wanted to do it, to make sure because they didn't obviously know if we had genuine intentions, because they didn't really know us. But I've kept in touch with Chris, and he's currently in Brazil, and he does like sabbaticals every so often. I don't know if it's part of his own academic journey. I'm not sure, but I have asked him. I have mentioned to him about like Amsterdam and the level that we're after. He's not really linked to these type of people. But I want to just mention something that was mentioned a couple of seconds ago about the research. I just loved listening to Dr. John on Paul on the Plane a few weeks ago, where he was like, and I think it was to do with the FE core experiment when we went to Hungary, that he was incensed about what we were saying. So he thought, right, him and his friends are all going to get together, they're going to buy some equipment, and they're going to go down to Brighton, and they're going to prove us wrong. And the rest is history.
That's right. I love that. His attitude was, this is utterly outrageous. I'm a PhD in whatever it is he's in that's unpronounceable by myself and Bob, but that was it. It was, I can't have these people lying on the internet to everyone. You're not allowed to lie to these people, and he was going to show them to be wrong. And oops.
Exactly. Well, I'm going there a week. Well, I say week tomorrow, but it's actually a week now because it's now Saturday for me, and I'm really looking forward to, one, meeting him, and two, to see exactly what takes place. And I feel very fortunate to be involved.
Spectroscopy. Yeah, there we go. Thanks for reminding us that it's now Saturday. It might be something we've got to do, Josh.
Yeah, we've overrun as always. But before we overrun even more, we have got Brendan. Josh, over to you, bro, because
we do have Brendan. At least that link is working. Brendan, welcome back to the Iron Realm. Glad to have you. One click away from perfection. That's up.
Hey, you guys still haven't sent me my money from last week's show. So.
Well, you're going to have to give me your absent guest, though, I must say.
I know, I owe you guys now. It should be good tonight. I mean, I got confirmation today, so I think everything should be all set. But I saw that interview today with Dave and the particle physicist. I was just kind of listening to you guys chat about it. And yeah, I was really taken aback. I mean, I was about 10 minutes in, and I actually started to kind of feel bad for the guy. You know what I mean? Like, it just shows you that people just come, people that are educated really think that flat Earth is so outrageous. And, a lot of these people don't want to think that they just spend all that money on something, on a degree that's basically been a lie to them, and all their professors lied to them and stuff. So they use all that, you know, cognitive dissonance, and it just kind of puts up a wall. And then when you get something as stupid as flat earth, they just come to the table thinking they can just debunk it. But we're the ones that are actually looking into this, running our own experiments and stuff. And yeah, I mean, Dave really put a whooping on him. So it was kind of very interesting to watch.
Sorry, yeah, I've not had a chance to even watch it yet. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'm gonna have to check it out this weekend.
Yeah, it was. You get really weary like about 10 minutes in, because the guy starts stuttering on his words, and I know English isn't his first language and stuff, but I mean, he didn't even know how to explain anything. And I mean, it just shows you how what educated really is, as opposed to, you know, Dave, who's a very intelligent man, you know. And hopefully it opens some, you know, some doors in his brain, and he's going to look into it and, you know, become one of the good guys. So
I had a good chat with Dave at the conference, and you know, Gary was talking about, forget the speakers and stuff, you know, everybody at the conferences are normal people, and you just wander up and talk to people, and it was great for me. And we sat there late at night, me and Dave sat in the bar chatting for a good hour or so, and brilliant. And Gary, again, thanks for it, because that's to me what the conference is about, is meeting people. But and I had pleasure, and he is very knowledgeable bloke, is Dave.
That was sort of what I was getting at, Gary, with whether you'd kept up with the physics debaters. Just wondering whether they might be going through a sort of, I mean, did they say to you that they thought they did well, or, you know, that went really well, or were they sort of sheepishly embarrassed? Or, you know, it would be lovely to think that that guy could come back in a year's time or 2 years' time and sort of go, wow, you guys kicked my ass, from the audience, and I'm now a flat earther. What do you reckon the chances of that are?
I must admit, I'm not too sure if they had a conversation with Dee, but I personally had a chat with them because I was the moderator at the time. I wanted to make sure that they never felt like they were bullied. And one of the things that I loved within the actual main debate is how there were times when, you know, they said some things that were funny that we all laughed with, or, you know, we supported them. And I actually made a point of actually saying that, you know, it's great that these guys, they're young guys, have turned up, they've actually been here. But I must admit, I personally didn't have that conversation with them, but I did just check with them that they actually they enjoyed it, and they actually found that it was useful. But I don't know if you've noticed the actual, if you watched the video, the main video that Dee put out, but at the end they actually do talk on camera, and I got the impression that the indoctrination with them is still quite in you know, there. I didn't get the impression that they'd actually like thought, oh, actually we caught a bit of a cold there. I like you think that they did actually struggle, but at the same time I don't think they see that, and the indoctrination is just quite strong. But what about you, Dee? Did you have a chat with them?
Well, I kept in touch with one of the guys for a while because he was very interested in seeing the footage, and he wanted to see the debate himself. But after a month or two, we lost contact. So
yeah,
he was always excited, and he was the young guy with the little beard. He was always smiling. He enjoyed the debate. He had fun, but I don't think he looked at it in a way as winning or losing an argument.
No, I think actually, based on what you just said, John, I think it may not be a bad idea if I get hold of Chris again, and maybe Dee can get hold of the guy that she's got access to actually find out, one, where they are, two, if they've had any thoughts about it, because it could open up new doors. Because we've got to, you know, I really feel that these debates, I don't know if they got legs for the future long term, but definitely for the time being, I think we really need to. It's like this thing about the Global Tour and, you know, what's happening with two conventions in Europe. You know, we got to do some significant things, and it's like what Tony's doing with like the Home Office with the education system. We can't just keep doing, you know, observation stroke experiments and like doing chat shows and just doing like things, you know, even conventions, because we need to do something on a major level if we want major results. and this is how you're gonna get under the nose of the mainstream.
No, I totally agree. And I think these guys, yeah, it'd be worth pursuing them, definitely, because if there is a working brain in any of their heads, then you at some point you're going to come across that brick wall that you realize that you can't prove what you're living on. And just like Dr. John Dee's had to, you know, for the intellectually honest out there that do the research, there is no doubting this. You're not on a spinning ball. So yeah, it's a test of their credibility, their manhood, their ego, everything.
Well, certainly, if you guys do get in touch with them, DD or Gary, invite them on the show. We would love to talk to them, see, where they are, if they want to talk about it more, any of that. That would be great. That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, I'll definitely, Dee and I will have a chat about getting hold of them and pursuing that, because I think that's it would be good to see, one, what their response is to the idea, and two, what takes place, and you guys can just literally the only thing I ask is that obviously everything's done with integrity, and you would do that. So
absolutely,
yeah, because obviously you get more points from it then, don't you? But yeah, it's a good idea.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, we're running a bit over on our hour and a half. Zach tried to give us a heads up a little earlier. Thank you, Zach, for the attempt. But man, we have so much going on here.
That's right. I actually do have Gravity pulled up. Looks like Zach's already on it, if I recognize those words.
Yes.
Yeah, guys, thank you for having me. I'm gonna go and go to bed because it's almost 1:30.
It is late. Thank you, DD, so much.
Easy, DD. Sleep well, and thanks for joining us.
Good night.
Nice meeting you, DD.
Nice meeting you. Bye bye.
Night, DD. I'll see you soon, mate.
Brendan, DD, Brendan.
Right, what have we got after the break? We have Cindy Holland. Is that right, Brendan?
Yeah, she said she gets home at 6 her time, so that would be it'd be more like 8 o'clock. So about half hour, 45 minutes, I would say she should be good.
Cool. I'm sure we can find something to chat about.
Something, probably.
Are you guys going to break for a little while, or are you carrying on?
We'll break, but it'll only be for just enough time to let the stream reset. So like 3 or 4 minutes. It's a real quick break.
Okay.
Just to keep it from getting too large of a video on the backside.
Okay, after the breakdown, I wouldn't mind just mentioning quickly what Roxanna and I are doing at the end of February, and something I'm going to be giving to the Oxford University students.
Ooh.
Bring it after the break.
Exclusive.
That's quite a tease, yeah.
Tease.
Right, I'm muting.
Yeah, if everybody would go ahead and mute up, hopefully that will keep this song from cutting out too much. I'll try to make sure my levels aren't too crazy. I think it's the bass is what kills it, so I'm going to turn the bass down.
I'm loving those arrows, Zach. I'm going to mute, but I love the arrows.
Sweet. Well, we'll take a little break, and then when we come back, we'll be talking a little bit more with Gary John. We're going to be talking with Brendan Daly, and then up before too long, we will have Cindy Holland, former employee of NASA. And, oh, crap, come on, I just had this. Somebody help me out.
Lunar eclipse.
Lockheed.
Perfect. Lockheed Martin, that's what it was.
I think that's where Cindy actually works right now.
Oh, is that where she still is?
No, I think she went from NASA to
to
Lockheed, yeah.
Oh.
But I'll mute myself for now.
All right,
I'll
perfect.
shut up.
Sweet. Well, I'm going to shut up too. We'll just get the hell out of here. Be back in about, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, something like that. It's playing, John.
We're up pretty high, our heads are almost in the clouds, and their feet are chained to the ground with their chains of misery. They've got a hold of me, they won't let go of me. Let go of me. Our heads are in the clouds now. Don't let them make it rain. Smile can be the sign. They're missing out on their rainy day. They might have gravity on the side, but something's pulling us high. Got the potential to fly. Don't let them be what holds you back from this one incredible chance. They're lucky to have had a glance at you. Are you defy gravity? They say we aren't strong enough. We don't have what it takes. I say yeah, they're wrong enough, and we'll show them someday. They might have gravity on their side, but something's pulling us high. Got the potential to fly. Oh yeah, don't let them be what holds you back from this one incredible chance. They're lucky to have had a glance at you. Are you defy